around 88,000 people die annually due to alcohol-related incidents. This shows that because of the rise in consumption in alcoholic goods, that more and more people are becoming negatively affected by alcohol. In this speech, Jesse, and I will address why alcohol abuse is a problem, how it's changed over the years, how it affects different types of people, and what are some steps that you can take to help people with alcohol abuse and help prevent it. Let's now address the first issue we want to discuss. Why is this an issue? One of the first reasons that alcohol abuse has become an issue in the United States is that more and more people are becoming alcoholics, which drains people of their finances, such as families who are struggling with poverty to people who just can't really stop themselves. Also, alcohol abuse leads to reckless behavior, which can lead to several problems. For example, accidents involving a bystander, which will lead to medical expenses and jail time. And abusive behavior. Most of the time, domestic violence is an effect of alcohol abuse. Plus, the abuser of alcohol can lead to social fallouts, resulting in less friends, loved ones, and even lose their self-respect. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the top three of the hierarchy are love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. These three are important because with self and love, we are community beings. We want to interact with one another, and alcohol abuse leads to fallouts in that community. In self-esteem, most of the time, alcoholics don't feel good about themselves unless they have a drink in their hand. And self-actualization is when you feel as if you're whole, but alcohol abuse, you don't feel whole unless you're at the bottom of a bottle. Now let's move on to the second point, how this has changed over the years. Over the years, alcohol consumption has changed from a social activity in like high-class parties to a simple part of the American culture. Like in the past, it used to be in religious and cultural traditions, but now it's growing in the acceptance of a wider variety of choice on how you consume alcohol. There was a decrease in light alcohol, such as wine, and an increase in alcohol consumption of heavy alcohol, such as vodka and whiskey. The increase in heavy alcohol drinking, along with the increase in the amount of time people spend drinking, has changed the severity of alcohol abuse. Now that I've explained why alcohol abuse is an issue, Jesse will now explain how it affects different types of people.
Thank you, Tyler. And as Tyler was saying, how alcohol abuse is an issue and how it has changed over the years, I would now like to inform you guys on how alcohol affects different people socially, mentally, and physically, and how it affects the different age groups. Many young people start to abuse alcohol between the ages of 13 to 21. And according to the drugrehab.us, they state that around 6 to 7% of 8th graders start to regularly abuse alcohol, which this tends to lead to risky behaviors, reduced mental development, and they start to struggle academically. Starting to drink alcohol at such a young age can lead to people having many health issues and antisocial problems and to engage in many illegal activities. The health and physical issues that are related to drinking alcohol at such a young age may include shorter limbs and slower growth development rates, slower brain development, and not for the brain to not fully mature, higher liver enzyme concentrations, which shows an increased amount of liver damage. It can also cause a delay in the maturity of their bodies. And it can affect them socially because they can cause car accidents and cause harm to both themselves and to the others around them. And they can act in more crime-related activities and cause damage to other people's properties. It can also cause conflicts between their family members and many of their close related friends. Starting to drink and abuse alcohol at such a young age can also cause a rise in the depression and antisocial behavior in many young people and lead them to make poor decisions that can affect them later in their life. Drinking at a young age can also cause harm to both themselves and to the people around them. And now that I've told you about how alcohol affects the young people, I would now like to tell you about how it affects the older people. Alcohol can affect older people in many of the same ways that it can affect younger people. Alcohol has many of the same effects on older people, mentally, physically, and socially. Alcohol can cause anxiety in many older people and make them feel anxious. It can also cause a rise in the depression in older people and make them feel lonely and to enjoy doing the things less that they once enjoyed to do every day. It can also lead to a more antisocial behavior and cause them to want to be alone more often and away from other people. And it can also cause dementia in older people and cause them to forget things that they once knew, and it makes it harder for them to remember the simple things. And it can also cause liver damage from drinking an excess amount of alcohol over long periods of time. And it can also cause heart-related issues such as a rise in blood pressure, a rise in cholesterol, and an increased risk of getting diabetes. Now that I have covered how alcohol affects both the younger and older people mentally, physically, and socially, Jeff will now talk about some steps that people can take to help reduce the risk of people being alcohol abusive and to protect themselves and others around them.
Thanks, Jesse. As Jesse was saying, I will now talk about steps we take as a community and steps you can take as an individual to fight alcohol abuse. As a community, we do a lot of things to help prevent alcohol abuse. One major thing we do is have a legal drinking age. As Jesse said, alcohol is a dangerous chemical that not only hurts your body, but your brain. With a set age at 21, there's a less likely chance for someone younger to get it and abuse it, which can be very harmful as they are still growing mentally and physically. Another thing we do as a community is using prevention programs in schools. According to most studies, prevention programs that are properly implemented in schools and communities, use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs was reduced. Such programs help teachers, parents, and healthcare providers shape youth perception about the risk of alcohol abuse. While there are many social and cultural factors that affect alcohol abuse trends, when young people perceive drug use as harmful, they reduce their levels of use. Not only are these steps the community takes, but they are steps you take as well. One thing that you can do to avoid alcohol abuse is to not drink, which is pretty obvious. But on a college campus, that doesn't seem too likely. Instead, if you're going to drink, pace yourself. Technically, if you want to pace yourself, it should be about 2 drinks in the first hour, and then 1 drink every hour after that, and that's a good way to pace yourself. Another thing you can do is to speak up when you see alcohol abuse. Well, it's your brother, sister, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, or even your friends. Speak up, because you can still have a good time while being safe. As J.K. Rowling once said, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. As Tyler